Okay, you guys, what is up? The King of Lightning is here tonight to do Bleach Chapter 581 review. Now, of course, the live reaction is right here. This chapter, honestly, it had me thinking about a few things. Number one, do I really need to do a live reaction for every chapter when it comes to the Wednesday chapters? Because when I read this chapter, like, you guys can see while I'm reading this, I'm like, all we're doing is just going back and getting other characters' perspectives on the matter at hand. And then we end off a little bit forward from the position that we ended off on the last chapter. So I'm like, like, do I need to actually do a live reaction after I did the live reaction? I mean, I uploaded it because I did it. But now I'm trying to think, well, maybe I don't need to always do them since freaking, since this chapter is very simple. So let me keep my review very simple as well. Basically, the chapter, it is insight on a few things. And I have a theory about something else. First of all, it's insight on this whole concept of morale. Now, this concept is actually very important when it comes to war. And, like, again, I've played a lot of Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors, and morale is a big thing. And in this case, what we have here is that most of the people in the Serete that are not, like the Shinigamis, they understand that for the most part, the Quincy's are stronger than them. And when it came to Kenpachi, from Ariatsu's standpoint, from a combat standpoint, was able to pretty much overwhelm Gremmy to a certain degree. Again, Gremmy is considered the strongest Star Knight. But where the Quincy capitalized in Gremmy's defeat by trying to kill Kenpachi, the same thing cannot be said for the Shinigami. So right now we have Shinigami like Rukia, like Byakuya, like Hirako, and the others. They're trying to go over to Kenpachi so they can save his ass, because that's where a lot of this morale comes from. If Kenpachi goes, all of a sudden, most of the morale that the Shinigami have had throughout the course of this battle will dissipate. Like, for example, when you go back to the first invasion of the Quincy, when Yamamoto Genryusai got serious, everyone got serious. Everyone was balls to the walls. Like, yo, we gotta go. Alright, Genryusai is flying through the sky like a comet. We're all pumped. Let's fucking go. So, morale is very important. And I like how in this chapter, morale is actually a very cornerstone part of the chapter. The second thing is that we actually get to see Basby pull out 3 fingers. And 3 fingers apparently is the lava. Now, I stated this in the comment section of my live reaction, but I'm going to say it right here in the review. I have a theory that when it comes to Basby and his abilities, my assumption here, my theory is that once he goes all 5 fingers, or maybe his max is 10 fingers, I'm not too sure. But once he goes 5 fingers, he'll be at the same temperature as the surface of the sun, which I believe is somewhere around 5,000 degrees Celsius. I'm not too sure because I forget sometimes, but because I'm not, like, that's not my field of expertise, okay? So if I'm wrong about that, let me know. But my assumption here, my theory, is that for every finger that Basby uses, it's 1,000 degrees Celsius. That's my theory. So is he still on the same level as like Yamamoto? No. Because Yamamoto Genryusai, he had that absolute defense where you couldn't touch him, period. Because he was 15 million degrees. But the fact here is that I think that when it comes to the end, because he does increase in temperature, the more fingers he goes, Basby. So I'm going to say 5 is going to be around the surface of the sun temperature. That's my theory. And how he's actually able to listen in on Hirako and understand the importance of morale. Therefore, he's going to prevent Hirako from actually going over to helping Kenpachi. And he feels bad for Kenpachi in a way, because he understands that Kenpachi right now is being attacked by this group of hens, if you would, alright? Candace Cannon and buddies, alright? And this group of hens, they're doing their thing on Kenpachi, And we see in the horizon, from Rukia and Byakuya's perspective, a giant thunderbolt, quote unquote, coming down. So, obviously, Kenpachi, when we saw from the last chapter, on his last legs. So, in comes Ichigo, you know. Hey! In comes Ichigo, right? And then Ichigo, he completely misses when it comes to his landing. But then he shimpos right over there, right behind the group of hens. So the hens are like, what the fuck? Like, oh shit, like what's going on? And the thing here is that I remembered how when Ichigo was in the hot springs, or like the spring area with Kirinji, and how when Kirinji tried to test him, he like hit Ichigo. But Ichigo was able to like instinctively like hit him back, right? Kirinji apparently is known as, like, his moniker is like Lightning Speed Kirinji. So when I saw Ichigo do that, I'm starting to think, okay, fine. So maybe Ichigo has attained a speed similar to the moniker of Kirinji, the Lightning Speed Kirinji. And I also kept in mind that Ichigo, his Bankai is known for its speed. And his Bankai was, in a sense, just the Quincy Bankai, alright? It was predominantly the Quincy powers that masqueraded as Shinigami powers. However, now that he has his Shikai form, but he is he's in full bloom. In essence, he is the master of the Shinigami, well, technically Arankura powers and the Quincy powers. So this level of speed that he attained in his Bankai form, he probably exceeds now in his Shikai form. Now that's my assumption, that's my theory, I don't know, but it probably is the case given the fact that he was like a few blocks away, and in an instant, he was right behind the group of hens. So the hens all of a sudden like freaking out, because they're like, what the fuck is going on? Holy shit. Ichigo's like, here. Well, no, they should know that he's Ichigo, but right now they're pretty startled. And Ichigo's gonna go ham. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen between Ichigo and Candace Catnip and the Glutton and Mac Allen, the power, and the zombie chick. So overall, it's set up, and I didn't really like the fact that we actually went back to see the other characters' perspectives, and we end off a little bit later than the ending point of the last chapter. To me, when it came to a story progression standpoint, not that much at all. In fact, very little, alright? To be honest, if I were to rate it on that alone, it'd get a bad. However, it is build up for Ichigo to come in there and do his thing. We do get some concepts of war being implemented into the actual scheme of the battle and into the story, this whole morale concept, which is a very common but true concept. At the same time, I have this theory on Basby, which I think is somewhat reasonable, considering the fact that every time, Three Fingers is lava, and I think that when it came to Two Fingers, it was like white fire. So, and white fire being like when it comes to the color of fire, like fire, they do have certain colors, and like I think it's like blue, like when it came to the temperature, lowest one being red, then it's blue, then it's white. So again, I'm not too sure, but I'm throwing it out there. So I'm done. Overall chapter rating, a very simple chapter, very easy chapter, and the rating is going to be okay plus. Even though Ichigo Ichigo's here and he's badass, yeah. The thing here is that overall, it's a very simple chapter. So I'm done. Oh, and by the way, for the record, Ichigo coming down, Ichigo being the guy, called it, very obvious, very fucking obvious. Duh. Derp. I had my doubts initially, but no. It's him. It was very obvious. That's the way it is. That's just the way it is. Yeah. I'll see you guys later.